Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. We're going to start first with our water vapor satellite picture, and as you can see, we have a very impressive upper level low sitting off of the Northern Mid-Atlantic coast. This upper level low is producing some very unsettled marine conditions over the northern New England coastal waters and much of the western Atlantic. However, it's producing excellent weather conditions for the northern mid-Atlantic. Notice we have black and red colors on the water vapor satellite picture from coastal New Jersey up through the Hudson Valley. And what those reds and blacks stand for is basically dry sinking air. Now, this dry sinking air is due to convergence and confluence aloft, which forces the air to pile up at 500 millibars and above and then sink south towards the surface. And that basically produces high pressure at the surface, and any disturbance that tries to move across the Great Lakes rapidly weakens and falls apart. And as you can see, for the most part, these disturbances do not make it to the Mid-Atlantic coast, and we end up with dry conditions. Now, a few of these disturbances are going to try to dive south through the northern Mid-Atlantic over the next couple of days. And I can't rule out an isolated shower, but I stress the word isolated here. Most locations will remain dry with clear skies, but I can't rule out a stray shower possibly popping up, especially along the coast around Connecticut and Long Island, where those locations are closer to the upper level low, and of course northeastern Pennsylvania, where the disturbance might be strong enough, just enough to produce an isolated shower. Otherwise, excellent weather conditions are expected throughout the entire week. Our surface map as of 10 a.m. basically shows high pressure and control from northeastern Canada all the way down to the southeastern coastal waters of the United States. This high pressure system will remain in control throughout today and into Friday as our area low pressure over the Atlantic continues to sit and spin, and our area low pressure over the plains stalls out due to the presence of high pressure and this blocking upper level low. So basically what you see today, you can expect throughout the rest of this week. We are looking at the European model guidance from the Penn State eWall, an excellent website for all your model data. And I wanted to show some very interesting features. One, notice all of the upper level lows that are developing across North America. This is a very unusual type of pattern that develops sometimes in the spring as the pattern continues to develop and the thermal gradient that we've seen in the cooler months starts to dissipate. And what you get are these areas of cold pockets in the atmosphere. They're trying to work themselves out. We have one very impressive upper level low and deep trough over the west coast, and that upper level low is going to cause the polar jet stream to move well to the north into Canada. Meanwhile, our upper level low over the western Atlantic begins to weaken and slowly starts to migrate back into the polar jet stream. But keep an eye on this upper level low over the central plains because that upper level low could cause some problems for early next week. So we move to Saturday evening, and you can see our upper level low that was over the plains starts moving towards the southeast, and it will be sitting over the central Mississippi River Valley. Now, because the polar jet stream is forced well to the north due to this deep trough over the west coast, the upper level low over the Mississippi and Tennessee River Valley begins to cut off and basically sit and spin over the southeast. Now, the position of this upper level low is going to be key to the forecast going into late Saturday night on through Monday. If this upper level low is positioned more towards southern Virginia and northern North Carolina, then what we're going to be dealing with is a persistent period of moderate rainfall, scattered showers, overcast conditions, rather raw weather conditions because all winds from the surface all the way up to 500 millibars will be coming in from the southeast, which happens to be the Atlantic Ocean, which means marine air mass and rather raw weather conditions. However, if this upper level low dives more south towards the Gulf Coast, then we end up in basically where this ridge axis is setting up over the Great Lakes. And what ends up happening is that skies clear out, the stationary front that sets up, which I'll show later, moves further out into the Atlantic, and as a result, we end up with dry conditions, still a chance of a few showers, but overall pleasant weather conditions for this time of year. So the position of this upper level low is going to be key to the forecast going into early next week. At the surface on Saturday night, you can see that this low pressure system at the surface is not very well organized. There is a bit of a tighter gradient along the mid-Atlantic, especially over the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore metropolitan areas. However, again, I want to stress that this is not a strong system, and at the most right now I'm going with isolated to scattered showers, as the moisture advection with this storm is just not very impressive. In fact, the most impressive surface feature in North America at this time on Saturday evening is actually the high pressure system centered over central Canada that ridges down into New England. So we're not really looking at a very dynamic storm at all. This is the 500 millibar pattern on Monday evening, and you could see our upper level low on the European model guidance is closer towards the Gulf of Mexico. It's right over the Florida Panhandle. And actually, some ensemble guidance is actually weaker and further south with this upper level low, which produces very pleasant conditions for the northern mid-Atlantic with temperatures in the 70s, and generally scattered clouds can be expected. However, for now, I'm going to keep scattered showers in the forecast until we get a true reading on exactly where this upper level low is going to set up. We're also going to have to keep an eye on the base of this trough in Canada, as a cold front could move through the region with a few scattered showers as well. The key point here, though, is the upper level low over the west coast, which continues to intensify and will continue to force the brunt of the polar jet stream well to the north of the region, which means that once this upper level low weakens, very warm conditions return to the northern mid-Atlantic by the middle and end of next week. At the surface on Monday evening, you can see that this low pressure system is not very impressive. We have a stationary front off the coast. The further south and east this stationary front is, the more likely that skies will clear out over the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area, and that temperatures will remain near normal with highs in the lower to mid 70s for most locations. So again, the further south this upper level low sets up, the better chance that the northern mid-Atlantic will remain with very pleasant weather conditions into early next week. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.